Okay, the last target on this lesson is a doozy. It's one we've actually done earlier in the year. Well, pre-semester 2, semester 1. But let's do it again. You know, repeat to remember, remember to repeat. So you can determine the distance between 2 points. Well, we can get a ruler out, measure this. That's one way. Or you can look at the coordinates, right? Because we're talking about in a coordinate plane. And so, what would the distance be? Notice that in this one, they both have the same x value. And then in this one, they both have the same y value. Those are the only kinds of problems you'll be asked to find the distance for between points that have the same x or same y value. Okay. And between all four coordinates, or excuse me, all four quadrants of the coordinate plane. So you could be asked, say, find from here to here, or from here to here, or from here to here, and here to here, and so on. You get the idea. For example, find the distance between the points -7, 5. I'm sorry, -5 and 7, and -5 and 2. Notice again that the x values are the same. So right away, yeah, let's just see, where does that point go? It goes right there. Woohoo! Let's see that again. That was fun. There's -5, 7. And how about this one? What about it? There's -5, 2. Okay. So you can just count when you have a graph. You can count it, and if you could, they'll give you graph paper. So if you have small enough numbers during the test, the FSA test, you can just graph this. 1, 2, 3. Count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The distance is 5 units, whatever those units may be. Could represent miles, feet, inches, zebras, monkeys. Well, probably not zebras and monkeys, but miles, feet, inches, centimeters, meters, kilometers, so on and so forth. 5 units. What about if you don't have a graph? Okay, why would we do that when we can graph it, Mr. Hoffman? Because what if they give you bigger numbers? You want to know how to do it. So let's do it with the smaller numbers, figure it out, and that way you can do it with the bigger numbers. First step, which coordinates are the same value, the x or the y? We've already said that we're the x's. They're both -5. So let's cover them up. Cover them up. They're not going to help us. They're not very useful right now, but the 7 and 2 are. What do you think you do with 7 and 2 to get 5? 7 and 2, you subtract. Yep, that's right, subtract. So if the remaining coordinates have the same sign, if you see what I mean by that, because sometimes they might be negative, right? But here they're the same. Might be positive, positive, both negative, or one of each. Here they're both positive. So we subtract. When they are the same sign, we subtract. Same sign, subtract 5 units. Hey, how about this one? You try it. Pause the video. Go ahead. Come on, pause the video. Okay. Well, here we go. 2 and 4. Tron time. Light cycles. 8 and 4. 8 red. 4 blue. Hut, hut. Hike. What's the distance? You can just count them. Between this point and this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, 6 units. But what if you didn't have a graph? First step. Which ones are the same? The x's or the y's? That's right, the y's are the same. Cover them up. Cover them! They don't help us. They're not very helpful. How about the 2 and the 8? What do you do with 2 and 8 to end up with 6? You can't do 2 minus 8, Mr. Hoffman. Okay, well then do 8 minus 2. Do you get 6? Yep, you sure do. They are the same sign. They're both positive. Now, they don't put a plus sign in front of them to be positive. We just assume they are. If there's not a negative sign, you assume that they're positive. Yes, so same sign, subtract. When they're the same, you subtract them 6 units. By the way, if they're the same, that means they're in the same quadrant. That's what that tells you. When you have they're both positive, they know when they're both the same quadrant. But I think, don't quote me on that. Hold on. Okay, anyway, I think it does mean that actually. Yeah, same quadrant. Okay, so here we go. Right away, you can see, let's plot the points first, just jumping the gun here. Okay, boom. Okay, and you could count 1, 2, 3. Again, they're in the same quadrant. Oh yeah, they always have been in the same quadrant, haven't they? Interesting. Okay, because if you go back, so all the time, see, let's back up. Yep, same quadrant, quadrant 1. Both points are in quadrant 1. And the first one, I think both points were also in quadrant 1. Oh, no, quadrant 2. Both points were in quadrant 2. Okay. And back to where we left off, which is right about here, I think. No, past this. Right here. Here we go. This time they're in the same quadrant. They're in quadrant. Remember which one this is? It's like a clock. Quadrant 1. Use the Roman numerals. Go counterclockwise. Not like a clock. You go the opposite of the clock. Quadrant 2. Quadrant 3. And finally, quadrant 4, which they usually do like this. That's a Roman numeral. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and we count the distances, 3 units. Again, same sign. They're both negative, right? Cover the ones that we don't use. We're not using these 3s. They don't help us. They're the same. So we're going to use the 5 and the 2. -5, -2. End up with 3. What do? We subtract 5 and 2, but we ignore the negative signs, right? What's that called? When you have the negative signs and you like make them positive. We take whatever they are and make them positive. That's what we're doing. How do you subtract -5 minus -2? You use the absolute value. 5 minus 2. Yay, 3 units. Can you tell what's going to happen here? Can you tell? Can you tell without even graphing it? You could probably tell, but let's graph it to be sure. 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, right away you can tell we're only using the -3 and the 2, and how do you get 5 out from a -3 and a 2? Well, you pretty much ignore that negative sign, don't you? When you ignore the negative sign, essentially what you're saying is you're taking the absolute value of it. So yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. This time we have different. Oh, but we have different signs. So we're not going to subtract. If we're not going to subtract, what are we going to do? They're different. If they are different, you're going to add them up, but you're going to use the absolute value. You're going to ignore the negative, basically. Add 3 and 2, and you get 5 units. You try one. Actually, this lesson's pretty much over, but try this one. Try this one. Go ahead. I dare you. I dare you. We'll do it without the graph. I'm not going to graph all. That's too much to graph. Remember the first step? That's right. Which values are the same? Cover them. Cover those values up. Which ones are the same? Oopsie. Let's see, my y value is 3 and 3. So I don't need those. My x value is -15 and 5. So I'm going to cover up those 3s. Get out of here, 3s. You're not going to help us right now. Maybe later you will, because you are a magic number. So we might ask you for help later. Then what comes next? Okay, if it's the same sign, got to put that in the right place. Subtract. If it's a different sign, add. So our sign is the same or different. We have a 15. We have a 5. They don't tell us what signs they are. Well, if they don't tell you, that means they are positive. Are you positive, Mr. Hoffman? I am positive that these are positive. So they're the same sign, so we subtract them. 15 minus 5. 15 minus 5 is 10. 10's the answer, 10 units. If you graph it, you'll find that it's true. So here's some more you can try, but I'm not doing them. I'm just going to show you. Try this one. And then come back. Oh, you're back already? Okay. Try this one. Yeah, okay. If you really want to know the answers to these, email me and I'll get them to you. Try this one. This is from FSA practice test. So if you can do this one, you're really getting it. Actually, you could probably graph these ones. If you are on an FSA test, you could probably graph these. These aren't too bad. I mean, you'd be drawing some stuff. I mean, 9's kind of a big number, but I think you could do it. But you could probably do it without even graphing, I bet, because you know the method, right? You know the steps. Go back in the video, watch. And that's it. Bye.